Welcome back. Until now, you've learned the basics of variables. Now it's time to introduce the other data types that are available in Kotlin: floating points, booleans, and strings. In Kotlin, double and float are two data types that can hold numbers with a fraction. So, for example, if we need to hold the pi number in our Android app, we can declare a variable by using the val keyword, and from the float data type, something like this. We use val because we want to declare a variable that must be immutable, and we don't want to change the value of it after initialization. And we use the float data type because the number has a fraction part. But as you see, there is a red wavy line under the value. There is something wrong here. This error is shown here because by default 3.14 is considered as a double. The difference between double and float data types is the capacity and range of values that they can hold. The difference is that the double data type is used for bigger numbers with decimal points. So when this number is treated as a double, we can't put it in a float variable. We can't hold a big value in a small container. So what's the solution? When I click on the red wavy line and press Alt Enter or use this pop-up, the Android Studio offers two options to resolve the error. The first option is to indicate that the number is a float by using the small or capital F suffix. As you see, by adding an F here, the error will gone. Or we can change the type of pi to double. Change type of pi to double. As you see, once the error is resolved successfully, the red wavy line disappears. Another data type is a string. The string data type is used when we need to hold text in our apps. For example, if we need to hold the username, we can use a string variable like this. As you see, texts are enclosed within double quotation marks. Let's define some more variables. Or we can hold a website address by using a string data type. So www.udemy.com is a kind of a string, of course, when it's enclosed within the double quotation marks. Also note that this is a string too, and not a number anymore, because it goes inside the double quotes. This is a string too. Note that the space can either be a character. Also, this is a string too, but an empty string. The length of an empty string is 0 because a string is a list of characters and the number of these characters is called the length of the string. So for example, the length of this string is 1 or the length of this string is 3. And now let's talk about the Boolean data type. The Boolean data type can hold only two possible values, true or false. This data type is useful for keeping track of two states. For example, we can declare a variable that is called is internet available of type Boolean and assign it true when we have access to the internet connection, or assign it false when there is no internet connection. Okay. Now let's talk about type inference, a new feature in Kotlin that enables the compiler infer type from context. Let's have a look on these examples. As you may notice, this time the type of the variables are not mentioned. In fact, the compiler infers what type of variable should be used. For example, in this variable, the type of unread messages variable will be inferred to be an int. To make sure, we can place the cursor on the variable name and press Ctrl-Shift-P. This will display the variable type. As you see, this variable is inferred to be an int. This inference is based on the value we assign to the variable. So as this value is an integer number, the variable data type is inferred to be an int. These two variables are declared in a similar way. So the type of address will be inferred as a string. Let me press Ctrl-Shift-P. You will see a string here. So now the type of this variable is a string because the value is of type a string. And the type of is internet available will be Boolean because the value is false. Finally, there are some points about variables that you need to know about them. The first thing is that Kotlin is a case-sensitive language. For example, if you declare this variable unread messages with lowercase u, you can't use it with uppercase U. The second point is that, as a convention, the names of variables start with a lowercase letter. So, unread messages starts with a lowercase u, address starts with a lowercase a, and here is internet available starts with a lowercase I. Also note that if there are multiple words in a variable name, for example here is internet available, the first character of each word should be capitalized except the first word, so that each word can be easily distinguished. This naming convention is called camel case. Also note that we can't use a space between the words. And another point is that variables cannot start with a number, so I can't put a number here. Also keep in mind that variables are limited to certain characters. For example, we can't use @ sign in variable names. And another important point about variables is that you cannot have a same name for multiple variables. So declaring two or more variables with the same name, for example, test will cause an error like this. And finally, you need to know variables are used to hold values while the app is running. So if you, for example, close the app, all variables will be cleared. To save values permanently, you need to know about other topics like databases and files. I'll teach you how to save data permanently later.